Archangel Michael says, 45 minutes left, God is trying to reach you and you always skip this. Something unexpected is going to happen suddenly. Open it immediately. The sky did not shift in color, but the air around you changed. A pressure, soft but impossible to ignore, brushed against your chest like the palm of a hand you cannot see. A presence you forgot you needed has been trying to call your name through the fog of this world. The signal arrived 2 hours ago, cracking through a long silenced frequency in the spirit. A thin shimmer in the heavens broke loose, and with it came a desperate attempt from someone who has waited long enough. They didn't come with words, they came with weight, with trembling, with a fierce ache. You may have felt it as a sudden pull, or a strange stillness in the middle of chaos. Something stopped in time for just a moment, just long enough for the unseen to speak. And now it won't stop echoing. This soul has been watching, waiting, and pleading through the holy veil for the right hour. Today is not a random day. The universe bent itself to allow this moment through, a divine corridor cracked open, and this contact is not just a visit. They saw what you didn't. They watched from the divine side as your pain deepened, your faith stretched, and your breakthrough was buried beneath debris someone else threw. They've remained quiet for so long, but now they're pushing past the silence. And they are not coming alone. Archangel Michael says, this is not a whisper. This is a command from beyond. The waiting time has collapsed. The hourglass has shattered mid-fall. What was once invisible now begins to take form. You are standing in the very place that time and spiritual war have delayed you from reaching for months, perhaps even years. And now, the one in heaven is screaming with light, calling for you to move. You've had dreams lately, unsettling ones. Not nightmares, but incomplete scenes. Moments that feel like memories from a place you've never been. That was them. That was the beginning of this signal. God says, the atmosphere around your spirit is stirring with divine friction. You were not supposed to wait this long. But the spiritual resistance was stronger than you knew. You were marked for breakthrough long ago. But on the day it was supposed to arrive, someone interfered, unknowingly or deliberately. The sky was torn open with your name on it, but another voice tried to hijack your delivery. The one in heaven fought then, and they are fighting now. But this time, the call has broken through. Their hands are stretching out with the full force of divine urgency. The fog that blinded you is lifting, layer by layer. It may feel like anxiety right now, or unexplained grief, or a sudden moment of clarity in the middle of chaos. Don't ignore it. That is your spirit beginning to synchronize with the divine rhythm once again. Something is walking toward you, something promised, something powerful, something withheld. You feel the weight before you see the form. You feel the truth before you know the words. Archangel Michael says, the chain on your door has been rusted by years of delay, but now the lock is breaking, not by your effort, but by divine push. The hand from heaven will not be denied. Your soul has waited long enough. The one trying to contact you isn't just here for comfort, they carry with them the divine document, the signed decree that your delay is over. They are the carrier of completed prayers. You will begin to feel fire in your chest, gentle but persistent. Like a knowing, like an ache that finally has a face. This is the moment of alignment. This is the moment when heaven leans closer and says your name. God says, do not turn away from the tension. This is the final contraction before birthing the answer. Stay open. Stay sensitive. The message is landing in your life in waves. The angels are watching now. Your life is surrounded by the soft flicker of spiritual winds, they are setting up the stage. Your name is glowing again in the divine realm, brighter now, because they can finally see you moving. You are not alone. You were never alone. But today, the veil splits just enough to let the one who loves you most through. They are not merely a lost soul. They are a divine messenger with a memory. And they remember what you forgot, they remember the promise. And they won't stop calling until you remember it too. You were meant to receive something long ago, something glowing and full of breath, something born from tears you thought were wasted. But on the very edge of your moment, a shadow stepped in. Not a stranger, someone wrapped in trust, someone who wore familiarity like a mask. They spoke light, but held darkness in their intentions. They heard whispers of your blessing before you did, and instead of protecting you, they plotted silently. And in that stolen silence, they rerouted what was meant to be yours. Archangel Michael says, this soul who betrayed you did not realize heaven had its own memory. They touched something holy, and now the fire of consequence follows behind them. The time of delay is over, not just for you, but for them too. There are people in your life who have benefited from your setback. People who smiled while watching you suffer, secretly relieved that your light hadn't yet arrived. But God has traced every inch of injustice, and now the trail ends. God says, you were delayed, not denied, but the thief who interfered shall be exposed. The heavens have waited for this date. Not because you were forgotten, but because the divine clock had to strike a precise hour for reversal. This is that hour. The betrayal didn't just delay you, it scarred your faith. It made you question what was real, what was sacred, who you could trust. And in the confusion, you quieted your spirit, just enough for your enemy to feel safe. But now the sound of heaven's reckoning is waking even the hidden corners of your memory. What you forgot is rushing back. What you buried under pain is unearthing with heat. You may begin to feel spiritual dizziness, a rebalancing. The shift is violent, not because God is punishing you, but because He's yanking you from a web of spiritual sabotage that held your feet captive. What was once a slow ache will become a snap of divine release. Archangel Michael says, I saw the hand reach for what wasn't theirs. I saw the promise torn from the wind before it could reach your hands. And now, my sword has been drawn. Do not look back. What is behind you is being burned. You will feel it as sudden distance from certain people, conversations that dry up, invitations that vanish. This is not loss, it is heavenly preservation. You've been walking through invisible tripwires. Every time you tried to move forward, something yanked you back. But heaven is now erasing those lines. The floor is shifting beneath the spiritual thief, and they will stumble into exposure. God says, the wait is over not just because your blessing is here, but because the wall blocking it has been torn down by divine decree. You will not be held hostage by delay anymore. There was a moment, months ago, when you felt something was about to happen. And then it didn't. That was the moment of interception. That was when someone interfered. But the signal from heaven has now corrected the path. You may begin to feel tears today, unexplained, sacred, unstoppable. That is your soul catching up with what has always been yours. The grief is leaving. The blessing is arriving. And the thief? They are being cast out. Archangel Michael says, their influence is cracking like glass in the hands of light. What they built on false ground is being undone. They thought you would stay down forever, but they forgot one thing: heaven has a memory sharper than time. The message from the soul trying to reach you has gained force. Every passing hour now carries divine acceleration. What was blocked will now flood. What was silenced will now roar. And you must prepare. Because the same ones who watched you fall will see you rise. But they will not understand the force behind your transformation. They will try to come close again, but the divine line has been drawn. You will be lifted before they can explain. God says, I am lifting you above the betrayal, above the sabotage, above the years of silent suffering. You will not crawl into your breakthrough, you will be carried in by fire and wind. They saw your blessing before you did. That's why they tried to hold it back. But their hands are now bound. The blessing is moving again, toward you, for you, with power. Let your spirit grieve if it must. Let your heart tremble in the face of this shift. But do not go back. The one trying to contact you from the divine side is here to bring it all back. They never stopped believing it was yours. And now, they have heaven's permission to make it real. The winds are no longer circling. They are moving in one direction now, forward, and straight toward you. There is no more turning, no more waiting, no more stolen hours spent staring at doors that would not open. God says, this was the moment I whispered about when you cried alone, when you thought the silence was abandonment, it was preparation. You were not being ignored. You were being protected while heaven restructured the way it would deliver your promise. There is a weight pressing on the atmosphere now. Not heaviness from fear, but a dense, divine heat. It signals movement. It announces fulfillment. It carries the sound of chains breaking in unseen dimensions. The one trying to reach you from the other side, someone whose soul still breathes in the dimension of spirit, is not here to haunt. They are here to help. They are heaven's assigned voice, chosen to keep knocking until your gate opens. Archangel Michael says, this soul is relentless with their message. They are not leaving. They are not retreating. Their signal rides on everything now, the breeze through your window, the flicker in your lights, the deep pull in your chest that won't let you sleep. You are surrounded now. The angels have descended into your realm, not just to comfort, but to carry. They will not let you fall through the cracks of disbelief again. This is the final movement before manifestation. You may feel old emotions return, longings you buried, hopes you filed away. That is not regression. That is recognition. The future you dreamed of is remembering you. God says, I never let the promise die. I buried it deep to protect it, but it has been growing roots all this time. And now, it bursts from the soil of your suffering. There will be signs you cannot ignore, divine repetition, unexpected alignments, sudden peace following emotional storms. These are not random. They are spiritual markers, lining the path your breakthrough now walks. This moment has a sacred echo. You've heard parts of it before, in your dreams, in déjà vu, in strange timings that made your soul stop and wonder. Now the full message is landing. Archangel Michael says, the soul from heaven has finally pierced the veil. They are bringing not just word, but evidence. This was their vow to God, to stay near you until justice kissed your doorstep. You may begin to feel an unshakable sense of being watched, but not with judgment. Watched with holy intention. Your steps are being guarded. Your movements are being cushioned. You are not alone anymore. The energy around your home is shifting. The air feels thicker. Certain rooms feel warmer than others. Time feels like it's bending, speeding up, stretching. That's because the spiritual is colliding with the physical. You are about to experience a form of divine discomfort, where blessings come too fast for you to organize. Where relief makes you weep instead of rejoice. This is what it feels like when the wait is over and heaven moves without delay. God says, I've broken through the resistance. I've shattered what held you back. I'm releasing what's been screaming to reach you. The soul that carries your answer has wept with you. They were there the night your spirit cracked. They saw the moment your breath caught in your chest, and you almost gave up. They cried out in the heavenly court, and now they've been authorized to act. Their arrival isn't loud. It won't be broadcast. It will enter in flashes, through memory, through music, through spontaneous warmth over your shoulder. But when it lands fully, you will know, something unexplainable just entered your reality. Archangel Michael says, I've cleared the path of remaining spiritual debris. No shadow will block this soul again. Their message will complete its journey now. Even those who do not believe will feel something shift around you. They will sense a glow they can't describe. They will step back, uncertain. That is the divine shield forming around what is now unfolding. You've been tested by time. Pressured by betrayal. Shaken by false hope. But nothing could erase the ink of divine promise written across your destiny. It was sealed the day you were born. And now, that seal is being broken, not for destruction, but for delivery. There will be a moment, soon, when silence will fall around you. It will not be emptiness. It will be the sound of heaven holding its breath, waiting to see how you receive what's arriving. You may feel the urge to release people. To disappear. To rearrange. Follow it. That is your soul making space for what's about to flood in. You cannot carry old weight into this blessing. God says, this is the moment that will change everything. What was withheld will now return with interest. What was denied will now shout your name. There will be no mistake. No confusion. You will feel it enter. You will feel something in your bones whisper, this is it. And it is. The air has stilled, but it's not peace. It's the calm before a divine correction that will thunder through every hidden place where injustice once whispered. This is the hour when God stops watching silently and begins speaking through events. The ones who doubted your journey will not know how to respond when your name is called forward without their permission. God says, I gave them time to make it right. I gave them space to correct what they twisted. They chose to ignore mercy, so now they will witness justice. The clock has struck the appointed second. The weight has collapsed. The verdict has been sealed. Archangel Michael says, a ruling was made in heaven last night. Not in your sleep, but in your struggle. Every tear was entered into divine evidence, and the result is this: the spiritual chains have been broken. There is no more debate behind the veil. The heavens are in full agreement. You were mishandled, misjudged, and misunderstood, and now the scale has tilted. You are no longer walking under probation. You are walking into promise. A reversal is already in motion. The ones who tried to delay your movement are now feeling delay themselves. What they cast over you in secrecy will now echo through their own timelines, returning to them with the weight they tried to place on your shoulders. God says, you were not overlooked. You were hidden to be preserved. And now, I'm uncovering what I reserved for such a time as this. This is no longer about survival. This is about supernatural release. There are forces being removed from your life now. People, plans, even dreams you thought were meant to stay, but they were only scaffolding. The real structure is what's emerging underneath, a destiny not built by human hands. Archangel Michael says, the soul who came to reach you has passed the message successfully. You heard the pull. You felt the shift. Now you must walk in it. The reason for their urgency is now clear, because heaven knew that today would be the day of change. You'll begin to see divine patterns move around you. Things will start happening in threes. 3 signs. 3 faces. 3 opportunities that feel familiar, because they were meant for you long ago. You'll recognize them by the warmth in your chest and the tension in your soul finally unraveling. This is not the time to explain yourself to anyone. Those who were meant to understand will feel it in their own spirits. The rest will either be silenced or removed. Do not delay by turning back to re-explain your truth to people who already chose to misunderstand it. God says, I am calling your name before kings, before nations, before spiritual gates. What they tried to bury, I am resurrecting in full sight. The angels have taken their positions. Your soul has passed through the final threshold. This is no longer prophecy, it is fulfillment. The spirit that fought to deliver the message is now ascending, their mission complete. They leave behind not emptiness, but impact. They lit the way. You must now walk it. Doors will open in places you never knocked. Your name will be mentioned in rooms you've never entered. The hand of God is now writing your release in the hearts of those who carry your next chapter. Archangel Michael says, they cannot stop what's already unfolding. The realm of spirit has declared you marked for restoration. No weapon will prevail. No whisper will delay. Even your physical body may feel it, shaking hands, deep exhales, sudden hunger or chills. That's not random. That's your being adjusting to divine alignment. The old frequency is leaving. The new one is here. This is the season where you rise without apology. Where you become what you thought you had lost. Where the ashes finally reveal the hidden embers, still burning, still holy, still ready to ignite. God says, your story is not just beginning. Your enemies thought they interrupted your start, but they never saw the real chapter. I wrote it in fire. I sealed it in light. And now, it lives in you. What's coming isn't just reward, it's recovery. A return of lost time. A restoration of what was stolen under the disguise of delay. A release of what has been aching to find you since the moment it was denied. This is the hour the heavens have been waiting for. Not just to bless you, but to vindicate you. You weren't weak. You were waiting. And now, your patience has become your weapon. God says, this was always yours. I just made sure the ground could carry it before I delivered it into your hands. There is nothing left to prove. Only space to receive. Let them watch. Let them wonder. Let heaven finish what it started.